Hey, ladies.
Hey,
Hey.
How are you? Yes, yes. We are welcoming a guest today. So excited. And this is season two, episode 34. Wow, this season, we are marching right through. I guess we're, about 7 episodes or so into the season two,
Yeah.
and our heartbeats are rocking with us. And we have a guest today around building your confidence with mindset. That's the title of this episode. Super excited to talk to Arisha. We'll have her introduce herself in a second, but we'll talk about mindset, self discovery, limiting beliefs, all things around that. And we're going to talk to this wonderful lady that we have today. So, Shauna, did you want to say a few words about how we
yes,
connected with
yes,
Arisha? And
yes, I do, I do, I
yeah,
do.
great.
So I have the pleasure of meeting this beautiful soul that's with us today, Arisha. So Arisha and I are in a group together, and Grace and Charlotte is our coaches. We both coach with her with our business and our brand. And I'm going to let Arisha introduce herself and tell us exactly what she does with her brand and her business. I just want us to say that I did have the unique ability to meet her January 2020 before quarantine came in when I went over to London to one of our in person workshops with our coaches. And I told everyone in the group, yeah, I'm coming. I'm tired of talking to everybody on Facebook. It's time for us to meet. And so when I got over there, I had an opportunity to meet Arisha, and we had a great time. So much fun that we literally planned to be together in New York for
Yeah.
Fashion Week, September 2020, but we couldn't do that trip. And we were trying to start a fashion week around in London and Paris and just meet up in different places. Um, but it will come in the future, in the future. So, yes, so wonderful, wonderful person, Arisha. So, Arisha, if you can introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay, my name is Arisha Boyrangee. I am a quarter life crisis and mindset coach. I started my quarter life crisis journey about 5, 6 years ago, but I feel like I've been on it my entire life. I've always been that girl that's never felt like she fit in, never felt like she had a place or a purpose or a drive to do this thing. And it took me so long, and it took me so many different careers and different hobbies and different trying different things to really figure it out. And I think along my journey, I met so many people that were, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're in a good job, you've got a good education, so why bother wanting more or striving for more? And I was like, well no, because I want more. Like, that's the purpose of my life. I want to have everything. And and so I was like, well, no, this isn't right. I have to figure this out, and I have to find what it is that I love to do. And people are a massive love of mine. Like, I genuinely just love finding more out about people. And I turned it into a skill. I studied coaching. Like, I took it to the nth level that I could possibly take it. And now I'm able to support people in the right way, in a nice way, in a way that really shifts their mindset into being all about them and all about living their best purposeful life. So that's me.
Yes. Yes.
That's
And
amazing.
that takes a lot of work. Like, it doesn't sound easy. I mean, it sounds easy when you put it into terms, but when you're actually doing the work and trying to figure out your way,
Mm,
it's very difficult and can bring up a lot of hard challenges within ourselves that we have to figure out how to overcome.
absolutely.
And how do you, when you work with your clients, do you find, like, where are your clients at with their mindset as far as,
So
and how do
usually,
you get them to move the needle?
so I 100% believe mindset is key. Like, that is the key to absolutely everything. And usually when people come to me, they're questioning a lot, but it's usually around, I want to be more confident. I want to be more like able to do things, like be able to live my life. Or it's, I've got a really bad money mindset, I've got a really bad low self-worth. Like, it's those types of things that people are looking for. And physically, in like the real world, it's like, well, I really want a new job, I just don't know how to go about it. I'm in a really bad relationship, but I have no idea what I'm doing, like still sat here. And you know, it's those mindset shifts that you need to have that are for you, because it's not about the outside world. It's not about fitting in or building a career that you don't like. You may have all of the degrees in the world and still not feel happy in your corporate job, you know. So it is about fitting you into your life, like really growing who you are. And that's key, like really being aware of what you really want, and not what you've been told you should want, not what your culture says, not what your religion says, not what your parents, your family, your partners say, but really about what makes you happy. Because we've been given this life, right? And it's ours to make beautiful and bold.
Yeah,
How do you start when you're a beginner on that, when you just feel so lost and stuck?
Yeah. There's one of my favorite tools, and like every single coach uses it, is called the Wheel of Everything. And it's basically a giant circle, and you divide it into segments of every aspect of your life. So you include your work, your relationship, your hobbies, your pets, your friends, everything into this circle, and you rate it from a 0 to 10 in each segment. And each segment, you'll go around and you'll really like talk it out with yourself and really think about how happy you are with each segment of your life. And being able to see it on paper does something very different to your brain. It brings out your subconscious. It brings out the stories that you're kind of ignoring or just putting to the back of your mind. It really brings it out, putting it on paper, because you can physically see it then. And so when people look at their lives and they're like, well, I know why I'm unhappy in my health wise. I know why I'm unhappy in my friendship groups, but they don't do anything about it. Like they have 10,000 excuses, but nothing ever changes. And it's about shifting from physically having these numbers out on paper to, okay, well, how can we increase these numbers, and how can we get you living your life the way that you want it to on paper as well as in real life?
I love that, the wheel of everything. That is, so you're rating things from 0 to 10 on that wheel of everything. Like, do you focus on all the zeros? Then you focus on the ones, or do you see like, okay, something's at an 8? Do I move?
I can see it like, you know what? It's all a lost cause. I'm moving.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to.
I want the Wheel of Fortune.
Like, I'm done.
I know. I'm like, what are we doing?
I'm good. This is not.
There are aspects in our lives that we love. Like, I love my career. What did it take for me to love it? What are the steps that took me to having from 0 to a 10? Like, what are the steps that I took that I'm not taking in my relationships, that I'm not taking in my hobbies? And really assess what changes and what's different, or what happened along the way that you just no longer care about your hobbies anymore, or you no longer care about how close you are to your friends or family. Like, it's all of those different things. And then figuring out, well, why is this one thing more than the rest? Because often we don't really think about it, right? We just live our lives every single day. We don't really think about how happy we are in every moment. We don't really think about, what are these friends really good for me? Are they really helping me in my life? Am I helping them in their lives? Like, we don't really think about that. So it's about stopping, assessing, being uber aware of what we're doing and what we're taking with us, right?
That's the hard step, is stopping.
Yeah, I've done something similar to that. It's called the level 10 life. And it's more like the bars. Well, they do it on the wheel too, I guess. I've seen it done different ways. It's like a bar graph or like the wheel, and you like shade in like where you are. And I think for me, like, that's kind of like where I am this year with my personal journey is, of course, nothing is like perfect, right? Nothing is like, I'm 10 and like all these only have 2 more places and I'm gonna be 10 again.
And I'm perfect.
Right. It comes that for me, I think it comes down to like really being aware of like what season in life you are right now and knowing what is the best thing to focus on. I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is because they don't know like what's the next best thing for me to focus on. Like, you may want to focus on, I don't know, saving $10,000 this year, but you really need probably to pay down some debt. Like, you have a lot of debt you might want to pay down. Or, you know, you have a kid that's getting ready to go off to college. Like, I don't know, like, I guess shifting your priorities and really being aware of like where you are, what season you're in right now. I would say probably important. Would you agree?
Definitely.
I've got 2 answers to that. I think, one, I can have everything. First and foremost, I can. Like,
I love that.
That's the life I want to live.
Look at Shauna. That's Shauna's language right now.
Because it's real. It's possible. It's genuine. Right? We can manifest it. I believe in it. Go ahead, Arisha.
100%. We can manifest it. We can grow it. We can build it. We can do it all. And we can have it all. And all of those stories that say that you only have to focus on one thing are the ones that are holding you back. They're the ones that you're telling yourself you believe in fully, 100%. You've got all the excuses on paper, in your mind, everything, to say, well, I'm not going to focus on my money right now because I'm building my business and that costs a lot of money. I'm not going to focus on my friendship group because my business is taking a lot of money. I'm not going to focus on my friends because I'm focusing on my kids. Like, these are all excuses, and we agree with them or we don't agree with them. That's not the point. The point is, what brings you more joy in your life? What brings you the purest happiness? If your friends no longer bring you joy, they really aren't your friends. Like, if you're really upset about how much debt you've got, going into business isn't going to make you happier about that.
No, not even.
It's about, like, what genuinely keeps you up at 3 a.m. in the morning because you're so miserable, or because you have no idea where you're going, and will turn around and make you the happiest person. So that's where we need to be. And there's no if, ands, buts, can't, shouldn't. There's, what can I do to make myself 10 out of 10?
I like that a lot.
That. Definitely. Yeah.
You have we saw something on the who, what, where, how mindset. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Could you repeat that question? Sorry, it broke up.
Who, what, where, how, like when it comes to our mindset?
Okay, so the first place I think that's really, really important is to figure out what you believe you can do. Because the who is always you. The what is whatever you can do to make you happy. The when is always right now, because we don't know how long we've got, and like with everything going on in the world, we really don't know how long we've got, right? How long we're going to be in lockdown, how long we're going to be on this planet, how long our normal is going to be normal. And so figuring all of that and realizing that one the reason behind my business, the Coachable You, is because we have all of the answers within us. We just have to release them, right? And we are told so many stories and believe so many things in our lives that we hold in our heads, in our subconscious. My favorite story is that my mum used to tell me when I was a kid that eating chocolate at nighttime would give me nightmares. Obviously she was a mum, didn't want her kid eating at night, but I put that well into my 20s. I was like, why are you eating chocolate? It's forbidden, you can't do it. And obviously it's not true, but it protects you, and you have no idea how many of those kind of stories that you're holding on to from your childhood that are stopping you from being bold, feeling beautiful, being in the best relationships, having the best careers. You have no idea. So delving deep into those subconscious mindsets that are holding you back, that are saying no constantly, and being aware of how you make your decisions. I think money mindset is probably one of the biggest things that a lot of women struggle with, because we're always told you've got to work for your money. You've got to work 10 times harder, you've got to work 10 times faster, you've got to work. I was in a corporate job where my director genuinely said, if you don't work 2 jobs, you don't fit in this company. Full stop. Not double pay, double the hours. Like when I thought back to that reason, I was like, well, is that why I'm really working so hard to keep up with everybody? And it's not supporting me, it's not making me happier, it's not getting me further in my career, it's just what people do. Does that make me happy? No. Do I work there anymore? No. Like it is about figuring out what the things are that are holding you back and moving from those things. And number one tool is the simplest tool. It's journaling. It's really just asking yourself those questions and answering them for yourself, but allowing your space to do that, allowing yourself time to do that. And that's why I have one of my freebies is journaling prompts, because some people just have no idea where to start, right? And it's like I do, so here it is, freebie out there for you guys.
Yeah, that's great, because a lot of people they'll tell you to go journal, but it's like you're sitting there with a blank piece of paper, like, okay, what do I write write about.
Wow. Where?
It could go left. It could just be all negative, or it could just be 2 lines and it's really not beneficial. So having that guided journal prompts are always beneficial. I love journal prompts.
Yeah, we are major journalers. We actually created our own journal called Ignite Your Fuego.
Oh, I love that.
Planner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ignite Your Fuego. So a lot of our listeners do journal, but some of them do admit that they struggle with starting how to, where to start from. So I'm glad that you have that's a resource that they can tap into.
Absolutely. And journaling is supposed to help you in life. It doesn't have 10,000 rules. You don't have to have the prettiest journal, even though you do have a beautiful journal right there. Do it anytime, anywhere, with any instrument, on a napkin whilst you're at a restaurant, like on your phone. I do that a lot. It does not matter. And I think people shy away from it because they're just not ready enough. And it's about taking that apprehension away and just starting anyway you can.
Yeah. I think one of the things I heard you say on one of your Instagram videos was, and I agree with, is that it's not like you're not gonna like figure it all out and then it's done. Like mindset is like something that you're continually to work on as you grow and you become a new person. Then there's always gonna be something else that you have to continue to work on. I think that's a misconception that people have.
Yeah, I was a part of a conversation on Clubhouse, and there's a very different mindset that we were talking about mindset, entrepreneurial mindset versus employee mindset. And the conversation was around, like, entrepreneurs always have this one thing. They always can grow. They always want more, so they're going to get more, right? And an employee thinks, well, somebody's going to give me what I want. Somebody's going to give me what I'm worth. Right. And it's a complete reversal when you're on your own and you're out there and you're trying to figure it out on your own. So I do think that mindset is a really, really important one to realize, for more freedom, for more time, for more money. Like, that's what you're going to get. You're going to constantly be learning. And it's key. I mean, I don't want to be too harsh, but I feel like settling is death. Like, if you settle in life,
I'm with you. I feel like it's like, my goodness, like I feel like I'm also breaking barriers, breaking restrictions, and building a legacy. And it's hard to build a legacy if I feel like I have to conform to what everybody else does. And I always say I was born like this. I don't feel like it was, people always ask me, have you ever had an aha moment to blazing your trail and self-discovery work? And I do inner child work. And I'm like, no, it was always there. It was always there. One of the things that I struggle with, Arisha, and maybe you can help us, and there may be some listeners that struggle with this too, is I work really hard on a lot of limiting beliefs. Yeah. And then I think that they are taken care of. And then they resurface. Yeah. And then I'm a basket case.
Right.
Okay. And I don't know what happened.
I fixed myself already.
Okay. So one of the best analogies that I was ever given is, I've forgotten what the tool is, but you've got like 5 or 8 balls hanging on a string, and you hit one and the other one bounces off, hits one and bounces off. Right. And every time you hit the ball against the other ball, it goes a little bit higher, and it goes a little bit further, and then it goes a little bit higher and a little bit further. So that's what mindset work is. It's that ball. First you scratch the surface, and then you go a little bit deeper, and then a little bit deeper, and then a little bit deeper. Even if you feel like you're working on the same thing, you are just going a little bit deeper every single time. That's why the journey takes.
That makes me feel a little better.
That's an excellent analogy. I like that. Yeah, because I can see those when you're subscribing. See
exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah, know exactly what you're saying here. Yeah.
I'm a really visual person, so stuff like that always works with me.
Thank you. Too.
I liked your you made a comment about being bold and diving into your self-conscious, and it kind of ties in with the whole journaling, whether it's on a post-it note or a napkin, like you said earlier. Like, what are some I guess, initial things it could be a word. Because a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, a journal, I have to have this whole book of, like you said, 10,000 words, that I have to write down.
Yeah.
And what are some like key phrases or key points that someone can like write down to kind of move the needle forward when you're thinking about or working on being bold and pulling out that subconscious stuff, I guess?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is, when you're making a decision, even when you're buying your coffee first thing in the morning, even when you're getting on the train, write down what you're thinking. Like, be uber aware of how you wake up in the morning, how you just make your decision. And then at the end of the day, you look at the way that you've made your decisions, right? You look at how you woke up. Are you always thinking, I'm really late, I hate my life? Are you always thinking, I'm too fat when I look in the mirror? Am I always thinking, I can afford a cup of coffee, but I won't ever be able to afford to go to Fiji? Like, what are the differences in the ways that you think about things? And then when you look at them, think, well, what do I actually want to think when I look in the mirror first thing in the morning? What do I actually want to think when I'm buying my coffee or paying for a ticket to Fiji? What do I want to believe? What is the world that I want to create for myself? Do I want to look at myself and think, I am so beautiful? Do I want to look at my career and think, I cannot wait to wake up in the morning and get started and meet my team and da 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 da? What are the things that you want? And then create I am affirmations. I don't know whether you believe in affirmations or not, but I love affirmations and mirror work joined together.
Yes.
I think it's super, super powerful. And if you have no idea where to start, write down the things that I just told you, and then decide what you want, what you truly want. So if you look in the mirror every morning and think, I'm fat, and you want to believe that I am beautiful, write it down on a post-it whilst you're brushing your teeth. Look at your face. Just look into your own eyes and tell yourself, you're beautiful.
Yes.
It sounds ridiculous. It feels ridiculous.
No,
but it works.
It does work.
We talked about that before, Shauna, like how hard it is. I don't know about men, but I'm supposed to speak for women, to really like look at yourself. And a lot of women, I can say, probably don't really look at themselves. Like, we brush our teeth, we make sure stuff is not on our face, we do our makeup, but like, do you really like look at yourself, like you were saying? And
Your
like, that's hard. I'm
your eyes. It is hard. I think it's practice. The more you practice, the easier it will get. So I have 4 post-it notes in my bathroom now, 2 on my mirror. And one is my mantra for the year. And the other one is a compliment that someone gave me that doesn't know me that well, but it struck my soul. And the other 2 is one is on money mindset. Living the lifestyle. I'm living the lifestyle of abundance is one of them. And so I truly believe in that. I started a year-long 2021 campaign on Instagram and Facebook called Reflections, and I'm asking a question post, and then I answer it in a video, and I pull out a mirror and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm answering the question and it's not easy for me to do it. So I'm just trying to help others understand the self-discovery journey can be hard, but if we do it together in 2021, after what we've just been through and what we're still currently going through, I think that we will be stronger together. And it's just no bueno trying to do life alone and having those deep, dark thoughts. And like you mentioned that, our inner critic sometimes comes out and just mistreats the mess out of us, and we allow it to happen, and it's like, no, we got to stop this. We have to be, like you said earlier, bold and courageous enough to look through our soul and actually create the reflection that we want to see.
Because it's there. It's just like you were saying, your inner critic that's stopping you from seeing all of that beauty.
We had a few women. I know we did an episode in season 1 called Dream Again, because when we first started, we had a few women tell us like they don't have any dreams. Like, I don't have any dreams. Like, I don't know what I want. And they're just like going through life. Like, it's just so like I know we talked about like journaling and the will of everything as a starting point. But how do you get someone out of that place, or to really even just be that aware? So I went to therapy on my own. I just had some family go through some things, and I realized, like, you know what? I don't want to get to that point where I'm like, you know, like life is over. So let me go make sure I take care of myself now. So I'm a lot more self-aware, but some people just don't even know. They're just like really just waking up and doing everything all over again. Like, how do you get to that get that person to even just be aware of the fact that there is more to just than just what you're doing every day? I don't know. It could be just a loaded question, but it's hard. I know.
No, it's a really important question. And the answer is 100% I don't know. All I can keep doing is producing the work that I produce.
Mm-hmm. You have to be the model.
Right? Yeah. Because
model the behavior.
All that people say, I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to take the steps to work on it. The more it's out there in the world, the more people are going to see it, the more people are going to recognize that life isn't already a given ending, right? We get to decide what our endings is and how we live our lives. And I think it's so important that you girls do this podcast and you put this voice out there, because it's so powerful for other people who are just sitting there not doing anything and just settling. And I think the more that you talk about what you do and the more you talk about how you can expand your life and how you can live abundantly and how you can really change things around, no matter what age you are, no matter where your background's from, no matter what you think you've got in front of you, you can do it. And just having more and more women produce beautiful things in life, the more that it will be awareness for other people as well. And that's not to say that I don't have people that have settled in a, like, I don't know how you do it every day. I'm like, well, I don't know how you can't.
Right.
I love that response. I break that down. Yeah, hands on my forehead, like.
No, that is great, and it's a good confidence boost. I feel like for the women who know that they have a voice and something that they want to say, but they're scared to put it out there, because even if you're talking about mindset and 40 other people might be talking about it. The way that you deliver it is going to be completely different, and there's somebody that needs to hear it from like your voice for it to resonate with them. I think that's important to just point out. Like, it's for that confidence piece, it's important to put your voice out there so that the right person that needs to hear you can hear it, because you never know when you can make a difference for somebody.
Absolutely. I do want to say though one thing. I listened to a podcast called Both Ways, and it really did change my mind about the way that I approach things. So I always used to think I was really shy. I was really quiet. I didn't really speak up much. I didn't really have an opinion about anything. And I was listening to this podcast, and it was basically saying that if you don't want to speak up, or if you don't feel like you've got a voice, or if you don't feel like you've got an opinion about the topic that you're at the table with, you're at the wrong table. There is a group of people out there waiting for you. There is a group of people that are welcoming you and are ready for your voice, for your opinion, for you to matter to them and for them to matter to you. You're just in the wrong circles. And that's it. Like, and I know that as we grow older, it's harder to make friends, but that's already that's giving up, right? Like, there are people out there, and Facebook is a wonderful world full of people who are incredible. So think about where you are sat and think about who's around you and think about, well, do I really like this conversation? No, then have another one.
Yeah.
Risha, you're describing the heart of chat.
I know, Linda, you can speak to that. That's how we
exactly. I mean, you're describing the heart of chat just for how we came together. And so kind of working backwards to the point in time of how the three of us met, which will be 5 years come this March for Shauna and I. In November will be 5 years for Jeanette and I. So it really just sort of, came together. I love that point about online
connection that we have.
Yes. And I love the point which you made about being at the, maybe you're not in the right spaces and places, as Shauna says, you're not at the right table. So you have to build the table. That's what we did.
Exactly. Build the table.
We built this thing, and I'm just loving and so resonating with everything you're saying here. It's excellent.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so you put your voice out there, and now we've connected because we're both speaking our truths.
Our truths. And I just keep thinking about this phrase, like think it, then ink it. I don't know why, but that's been coming to me all this week. And whatever you think, that you want or you want to possess, I know for myself, I write it down. Like there was a time where I was shy and afraid to bring out certain things that I was thinking that about my life, because I felt like I was creating too grandiose of a lifestyle for myself.
Yeah.
And a long time I would walk around with it in my head and I never got it out on paper. And when I got the courage to write down on paper the type of lifestyle that I'm going after, I saw a shift in my life. Moving everything that I do moves towards that and the legacy work that I'm building and producing and doing. So I know that a lot of listeners may not be journalers. You don't have to journal a chapter or anything like that. Just write down your thoughts, because you can start moving the needle and shifting your life
Mm-hmm.
just by bringing it out, and have you're bearing witness to your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And then the next step, this is the real courageous step, is sharing it with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, you have to put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was also going to say, if you're not a writer and you're more audio, voice notes as well. Like we all have voice
Yeah.
notes on our phones. We can also voice note other people, our besties, or people that we don't know. That's also a thing like you can do, or you can create your own vision boards on things like Canva. Just get loads of images that you want, that appeal to you, that you think are creative, and just have it somewhere just to remind yourself. So
We need reminders.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I know you touched on, putting like affirmations up on the mirror. Is there any other like morning routines or rituals that you have that kind of keeps you in that state of mind that you want to be in and kind of gets you prepared for your day?
Yeah. So that I have 3 alarms on my phone, and they go off intermittently during the day. And one tells me to wake up and focus on me. So like working on my journaling, my meditation, and just sitting quietly, because there's so much noise, especially when you're in lockdown. You've got your phone, your laptop, and your TV, and everything's going on. And so it just reminds me to just sit still for a bit. Yes, I do believe in post-its, but I also believe having someone to be accountable for has shifted me so much in 2020. Whether it's your best friend, whether it's like your parents, whoever it is, just having somebody to say, I need to get up at this time and I need to work on something. You don't have to tell them what you're working on, but just say that it's really important that I work on this. Can you check in with me in a week's time and to see whether I've done it or not? And it'll just give you that extra little, okay, I've got to get this done now kind of thing. So, and I think that's why coaching helps a little bit, because there's a little bit of accountability there. There's a little bit of I've just told this to somebody. I actually need to work on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Lead by example.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I this year I was really, really bad at getting out and going for walks and doing the things that I know are really, really important to me. And it's noticing when you fall back into your bad habits as well, right? So noticing the difference of when I do journal, meditate, and go out for a walk, how happy I am and how productive I am, as opposed to when I don't and I'm just sat on the sofa all day, and seeing the difference of my mindset and seeing the difference of my body and how I feel as well.
Yes.
Love that.
So your other alarms during the day, are they just to remind you to pause?
No, so I have one that reminds me to stop at 9, because I want to start reading a lot more. I want to turn all of the output. So like I run my own business, so I have to produce a lot of content, connect with a lot of people, and there's sometimes I can think that's more important than my own learning and my own growth. So I take a moment out to stop at 9 p.m. to read something, to read a book or to read a poem or whatever it is. And then I this is like full confession here.
We're all in your gifts.
No.
I remind myself to eat a healthy meal. I can go into my work so deep and so hard and so continuously that I forget to look up and think, okay, well, I need to get up off my desk and have something nice and good and healthy to eat. So I have one of those at 12 o'clock in my day.
But
we're all guilty with that.
Just to drink water. Like, I'm like, did I drink anything today other than that first cup of coffee I had? Like,
yeah,
I haven't had water all day.
Yes.
I'm so glad you guys get it.
Oh no, yeah, we definitely do.
I love the 3 things you mentioned: the morning routine, your accountability, keeping your alarms. I mean, that's something that we started doing that early last year. Sean and Jeanette and I, we do like a Monday kind of, what are we going to do this week? But it's like, oh, I really told them that, so I better get it done, right? And then we do a Friday wins. So I think we've shared that with our audience. So I love that it aligns with what you're doing in your purpose. So the Friday wins is kind of cool because we need rewards. We want to celebrate. It's just like nose to the grind all the time. It's like, and as Shauna says, we want to have fun and have our party hat.
She's our own reminder to our alarm to have fun.
Tell them about so Arisha, I'm not that new to the iPhone world, but I'm still new to like really learning all the capabilities and how it makes your life simpler. And so Jeanette taught me a couple weeks ago. I love confetti. So if you ever see me like this, that's what I'm doing. I'm throwing confetti. It's my confetti signal. And so she helped me one day. She texted us in our group chat, and it said it had all this confetti came down on my phone, and my phone was shaking, and I was excited, and I was just like, "Oh, you got to tell me how you did this." And so then she told me, just type the word congratulations, right? So I did it. I don't know, maybe like 30 times that day. Yeah. And it just was coming and coming and coming. And then I cut down a little bit. I'm at maybe every couple days now, they might get some confetti, you know, and then I'll turn around and just say, I just had to do it. You know?
Yeah. Too funny.
It's our personal reminder to have fun.
Absolutely. That's what life really is for, to have as much fun as possible.
It is.
Then the wins on Friday, those are good because it's so easy to forget like the good stuff that's happened throughout the week. And it's not always about like, oh, I earned this much or I made these numbers, but just like there's some small things that we do, or not even small, but there's things that we do that we think are small and that are irrelevant. And sometimes we have to remind each other, no, remember you did this, you did that. And they were like, oh yeah, I did. Well, thank you for reminding me. So the accountability piece, I like that you mentioned that because we talk about that a lot. It's just important to have that reminder.
My life changed when I got into the whole accountability thing. Because, you know, if I account on myself, me, myself, and I, we're going to skate on a lot of stuff. We're just not going to
out of anything.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's just good to have being connected with, you know, people like you said earlier, Arisha, just about collectively how we came together. But we're also spreading this and leading by example.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just from talking to you and meeting you and looking at your work, I mean, totally see that you're doing that and what you're sharing. And I have a page of notes. And it's just like, wow, all these good about being bold and, you know, through the journal prompts and whether it's career, is it a hobby or is it your career? And then just finding more about yourself. And it all goes back to what you said, I can have all the careers and all the journals in the world, but what is my mind sort of, you know, saying? What am I telling myself? And,
Linda, you should tell Arisha what your word is for 2021.
Oh, yes. I actually wrote that down here. My word for 2021 is joy. So so whether it's my career, whether I'm making a sandwich or whatever it is, you know, we love food here, but just sort of,
We
even
love
if
to
it's
eat.
that, even if it's that, I want to find that joy in everything that I do. So if it's stepping out of the house to go to motor vehicle, which we know is challenging these days, or whether it's, I want to write my, third book or help a client, whatever it is. I think it's, I want to find joy in everything that I do for this year and beyond. I think I said that in a recent post that I wrote. So
I love that. I do want to add one thing though, mindset wise, the more that you celebrate and the more that you bring joy into whatever you're doing, the more likely you are to do it again. So if you continuously hate waking up early or hate going to the gym, make it fun, bring some joy, celebrate every time that you go. You're going to more likely want to do it more than you are to not. And that's how you build your structure and how you build better habits in your life as well. Those are super important.
Yes, that is a secret ingredient. It all boils down to your feelings. Staying connected to how something made you feel and want more of that.
And not doing the things that don't bring you joy.
Right.
It's not working. Why am I doing this again? You find we kind of talked about that in an episode about like, your no being your no, and like doing something, you're like, why am I doing this? Why did I even say yes to this in the beginning? Like, and recognizing things that you don't like to do. I'm always big on the opposite. Like, what don't I want to do? I don't want to do this.
And I love that about you. Like, I love that Jeanette does that because I feel like we're together probably 24/7 for almost. Yeah, I think we completed a whole year of being together every day in 3 different states and through a Marco Polo app. So what I see, the gifts that Jeanette has and Linda has and that I have, like they say, I remind them of to have fun. When Linda picked the word joy, it made me so happy because I'm going to experience that with her because I'm witnessing her. Enjoying her sip of coffee, enjoying her, moment when she's putting her lipstick on, everything. She's doing it and she's models it and I'm watching it, and the same thing with Jeanette. I love when Jeanette comes on and she was like, I'm going to tell you what I don't like and what I'm not going to do. And I love that because then that helps me. I don't like doing that either. Let's change it. That accountability and that connection and just using our empowerment strength and just collectively building ourselves up. I love these ladies. Like my life has just been so much better with them in my life.
Same here.
We love you too, Shauna.
I have to tell you that you come across on your podcast like that. You come across on your podcast like
thank you.
Really good friends and you're in a room all sitting around with cocktails. You come across very, very connected. And I love it.
One day we will all be in the same room together.
We will.
Same city.
Yeah, like I've been with Linda in person and Linda and Shauna has been together in person, me and Shauna, but the 3 of us have never been in one room together at the same time. Crazy.
It's crazy.
I feel like we have, but we haven't.
Right.
Wow, this is great. You kind of, Arisha, you brought stuff out of us, kind of going down memory lane and all the things that you're like, oh yeah, we did this. And we dropped a couple of episodes and the show notes for this are going to be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have, I think Jeanette referenced The Power of No, one of our episodes, and also you don't want to be the best kept secret. So what you shared earlier about, stopping and assessing and leading by example, kind of walking the walk, you're doing that. So we just love that so much. Yeah. So if you had one thing or maybe a couple things that you want to share that maybe a takeaway for our listeners today, what would that be?
That speaking is more important than doing or thinking, and that it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Like literally, I think 2020 brought out the connection online so much more, even though it's been growing steadily over the past few years. Like if I didn't have Zoom, I would have gone insane, like on my own on the sofa 24/7. Like, no, that's not how life is supposed to be. So creating new ways to connect and creating businesses that are completely online with you guys, like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think just doing it and figuring out how it's going to work is so much more important than just thinking about it all day.
I love it.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, yes. So, Shauna, do you want to tell our audience where they can find us and have this episode? And yeah, Arisha, definitely thank you for being here.
Thank you
Well,
so
Arisha,
much.
can you tell us where they can find you first?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes,
Yes,
where they
thank you,
can find
Jeanette.
you.
See how we help each other out?
Yes, I'm like, sure.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
So I am the Coachable You on Instagram and on Facebook, and my website is thecoachableyou.com, and on Clubhouse as well now.
Oh, Clubhouse. We love Clubhouse.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
We appreciate you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, IG, Facebook, also at our website called The Heart of Chat. Please join our mailing list so you don't miss any episodes from us, because every weekend, each and every week, if you come back, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be fuego, baby. Come back.
Thank you, Arisha.
Thank you, Arisha.
Thank you, Arisha.
Thank you so much.